Hey everybody, Larry here, Boxcars Garage. Welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of the air project for the shop. And I'm going to build this air dryer. And I've watched, I don't know, probably 50 videos in the past couple of days. Everybody's got their own take on an air dryer. This system, as you can see, it's all 3/4 of an inch. My air compressor starts out at 3/4 of an inch. So from the top of the head of the compressor pump, it's got a fitting that's 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to maintain 3/4 of an inch through my entire system, all the way through my main distribution branch that is going to go through the shop. And then I'll drop 1/2 inch drops from that main branch line intermittently throughout my shop. What you're looking at here is approximately 40 feet of 3/4 inch copper piping. As far as the type of copper piping, this is the lighter gauged, which I think is M. It's either M or L, and I'll put in my description what exactly it is, but it's the lighter one. The lighter one is supposed to be able to sustain pressure at 251 psi, I believe it was, which isn't a problem because my system at the most highest point 175. So this being 251, not a factor. And I would also make an argument that with a lighter walled copper, its ability to transfer heat or release heat that is coming from that air that just came out of that 200+ degree pump head might allow it to release that heat a little bit more efficiently. I think it's going to be a win-win both ways, and it's cheaper. This air dryer is going to end up being fed up high. Up in this area there will be a dielectric union. There will be a 3/4 inch hydraulic line that's about 36 inches long that will end up connecting to that outlet on the top of the pump head. So air will be introduced to the top of the air dryer, and then it will be forced to travel along these zones and crisscross back and forth and back and forth, and finally it's going to come up to around this point here in the middle, and then I've got to take some 45s and I've got to kick it out to get it above to where it crosses over the front. There's going to end up being like a 45 or so, a male adapter, and then I'm going to have another hydraulic hose that will connect from that point there. We'll call that the outlet, and then it will take it into a water separator filter, and then it will dump into the tank. And it will, from the 80-gallon tank, I've got an aux tank, which was the part 1 of my video. The one difference between the two tanks is that the aux tank has only got a PSI limit of like 125. So I've got a safety valve installed on that tank. It's a 125 PSI safety valve. So in between the primary compressor and the aux tank, there will be a control valve and a regulator, and I'm going to have to dial it all down to take it from the 175 to the 125. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm going with the system. So this is one of the termination points. You can see just the T and the street 45 going into it, and then the valve will be kind of looking like that. Here's what the tops look like. You can see it in this one. These have 90s, and then these are again the street 45s. They're all the same. I've got to get my pipes cut the same because I pretty much just field cut them at Lowe's to get them in my truck, and half of them are exactly 5 foot, and the other half are like 5 1/4 or 5 1/2. Because they give you a little extra. But anyway, we're going to get those sanded up and soldered. Let's see if I remember how to solder up pipes. It's been a long time. Back in the day, I used to be a plumber. But I might not have should have said that because the quality of my solder joints may not be reflective of that claim. So anyway, we'll see what happens. So I got all my fittings and pipes cleaned up, and I'm gonna throw out a couple of tips along the way. If you're able to solder up individual assemblies and prior to introducing these to the main assembly, you go ahead and do it, because there's less potential of things getting out of kilter during your final assembly of the large unit. And where it will get out of kilter is, if you end up doing these individually, you could get them tweaked, and then it'll end up showing in the frame. So these, I put these together, and I mashed them down flat on a level surface, and then I stood them up carefully on top of this 1/4-inch metal plate. And I'll go ahead and I'll do up these two joints, and I'll take care of all 4 of these, and I've got some other assemblies for the other end, and I'll do those. And then really, if I had my act together, I better go ahead and cut them now. I need to go ahead and cut some pieces here and have my bushing on here as well. That's what I forgot. So let me get back to that, and then I'll really do it up. I also have a wet rag here in a container. Sometimes that's nice to have nearby. You can wipe down a joint, slick it up, make it look nice. Tell you what else I should have here. I wasn't completely ready. Sometimes it's nice to have something on standby that you can pick things up with, and you not get 3rd-degree burns. So I thought I'd do a quick recap. We got this dude done finally. I've got about 3 days in on it so far. It's been a long time since I've been sweating copper. Anyway, everything's tightened up, and I'm happy with it. These channels, these standoffs, could be whatever material you wanted to make it out of. I just had this aluminum laying around. Thought it would be a good option. It's about 1.5 inches deep to the wall. Wrapped the copper so it's not setting on top of the aluminum. Used some real real thick electrical tape, but it's not the standard electrical tape. It's more rubbery. Anyway, I wish I knew what they call it. Rubber electrical tape. There you go. That's what they call it. Rubber electrical tape. Who would have thunk it? Got it all bolted up, and we talked about why the layout is the way it is. There'll be pictures of it on the wall by the compressor, and it'll make more sense then. This little standoff right here is actually a pipe hanger that would be used from a ceiling and hanging application. I needed to support this with something, so I just built a tab. I'll take some pictures of it, show you what I did. But it worked out really well. I'd do that again. Anyway, should give you another option anyway of an air dryer. And I'll let you know how this one performs. Gotta figure out where I'm going to cut this and cross it over.
What'd you say, little toot?
I believe that
Say Happy New Year from Boxcar's Garage.
if I end up
Please.
now
Say please subscribe.
for my inlet. That
What?
all I want to do is make sure that I tube my crossover underneath.